Hello and welcome back. I'm Michelle, founder of J&B Inspired and host of Nervous System Reset for Caregivers. We are on day 5. We have been going live for 5 consecutive days in the lead up to our live workshop on August 13th, which is getting very close. And we are just days away from the Hard Room Word workshop, and I cannot wait to be in that room with you. We have 2 caregivers already registered, and I would love to add more before we go live together on Thursday. If you're a caregiver, pop caregiver in the comments so I know you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that doesn't get named enough in the caregiving conversation. Not the first appointment, not the first hard room, the going back, the second time, the third, the fifth, the 10th. When the system has already handed you an answer and that answer doesn't fit or sit right with what is going on for your loved one or yourself, and you have to find the courage to walk back into the room and say, this is not resolved. I need more. That persistence, that level of accuracy and advocacy is one of the most exhausting and least acknowledged part of caregiving. And today I want to name why. I want to share something with you that I think will land in your body as truth. When you are advocating repeatedly, going back again and again to be heard, to be taken seriously, to get the right answer for your loved one or yourself, your nervous system is not resting between those rooms. Research tells us that caregivers can develop a state of chronic hypervigilance, where the nervous system has learned it needs to stay on high alert at all times because safety feels temporary. We're talking about medical appointments, hospital stays, talking in corridors to doctors and nurses when you're at the hospital. Even certain smells can become triggers for that intense alertness. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your nervous system learned to protect you in genuinely threatening situations, as it hasn't been given the signal that it can stand down. And here is the part that matters for today. When you are in survival mode, when you are in survival mode for long enough, advocacy stops being a choice and starts being a requirement just to keep functioning. The fight response, the over-researching, the constant preparation, the pushing, is where your nervous system trying to protect what matters most. That didn't sound right. I mean, it's your nervous system trying to protect what matters most. Words today. That is not strength running out. That is strength doing what it knows how to do. Now, I know that you can hear that I'm a little under the weather today. So I want to share something personal because it kind of got me thinking today. I've not only been in those rooms as an advocate for my loved ones, but I've also been in those rooms as a patient, not just a caregiver. I was experiencing physical symptoms, significant ones that were life impacting on a day-to-day basis. This was from caregiver burnout. This was from me from over-delivering and pushing myself day in, day out. And these things that were affecting my everyday function, and I knew in my body were real. They were real symptoms I was having, and you could see them externally if you were looking at me. I went to the doctor and I got blood tests run. The results came back normal. The reason I was given for that experience was motherhood and female anxiety. And I want to name what happens in that moment because I know so many of you will recognize this. You go home with a tidy explanation and a closed file. You don't feel any better and you feel dismissed. And you sit with that seed of doubt. You think, how is that possible? I know what I am feeling. I know what's happening in my body. But the person with the authority said normal. So what does that mean about me? And then the symptoms don't improve. and you have to go back. And the level of self-trust required to walk back into that room after already being dismissed and say, I am still not okay. I need this to be properly investigated. And I feel like that's profound. That is not drama. That is not difficult patient behavior. That is a person who knows their own body is refusing to be gaslit into silence. And it happens across medicine. It happens in every area of caregiving where the reality you are living doesn't fit inside the appointment window, inside the textbook standard of a diagnosis. That is exactly why the tools in the Hard Room Words kit exist, not just for the first room, but for every room after that. And I want you to know, this is not just our experience. The data backs up this across 3 different countries. In the United States, the CDC examined 19 health indicators, comparing caregivers and non-caregivers. Caregivers experienced worse health. Out of these outcomes, 13 out of those 19 indicators. And the most recent national report found that 1 in 4 Americans is now a family caregiver, a 45% increase from 2015, and that 1 in 5 rate their own health as fair or poor. Caregivers were more likely to experience heart disease, stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, arthritis, diabetes, asthma, and multiple chronic physical conditions. These are not small numbers. These are the bodies of people who kept showing up for someone else. In Australia, research from Carers Australia found that only 17.2% of caregivers reported being in very good or excellent health. Less than half of the 45.9% of adult Australians who reported the same. More than half of Australian carers reported being in fair or poor health. Australia's carers consistently report some of the poorest well-being and quality of life outcomes of any group in the country. In the United Kingdom, research from the Carers Week 2025 found that 43% of current or former carers, an estimated of 10.7 million people, have seen a physical health condition develop or become worse since taking on a caring responsibility. For current carers, that figure rises to 48%. The UK's own GP patient survey found that 72% of carers reported having a physical health condition or illness expected to last 12 months or more, compared to 61% of non-carers. And the CDC also confirmed that caregivers' health has become worse over time. This is not a snapshot. This is a pattern playing out across entire countries, across years, across millions of bodies. Carers report chronic conditions including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and arthritis at nearly twice the rate of non-caregivers. This is not a personal failure. This is what happens when a body carries sustained pressure, uncertainty, and overfunctioning without adequate support for months and years at a time. You are not failing. The system was not designed to hold what you are carrying day in and day out, and that deserves to be named. The Hard Room Words Kit is not just about finding words for the first room. It's about having tools that work when you are already depleted, when you have already been back 3 times, when your nervous system is in survival mode before you even walk through the door. The anchor phrases, the grounding scripts, the prep note, they work precisely because they take the load off a nervous system that is already at capacity. You are not trying to think clearly in the room. The tools hold it for you. That is what we'll build together on August 13th. August 13th is Thursday. That is days away. We are live for 60 minutes. We build your personal kit together. You leave with anchor phrases, grounding scripts, and a prep note that is yours to keep and use in every hard room from that day forward. It's $49. There's a 14-day replay if you can't make it live. 2 caregivers have already said yes. The registration link is in the comments and also in the description. And if you find it difficult there, you can also grab it in my bio. So go grab your spot before Thursday. Tomorrow is day 6, and I will be back again. If today landed for you, if you recognized yourself in the going back, in the dismissed symptoms, in the advocacy that costs you more than anyone saw, drop a word in the comments, even just yes. I read every single one. And if you have a question you want to speak, for me to speak about tomorrow, put it below and I'll answer it. And if you listen to the podcast, Caregiver Nervous System Reset for Caregivers, the Caregiver Punch card is in the show notes. Listen your way to 10 stamps. Email your completed card for season 3 to support@jmbinspired.com and go into the draw for a caregiver gift. One episode at a time. Thank you for being here today. The going back takes everything, and you keep going back anyway. That matters. You matter. The registration link is in the comments, on my website, in my bio, and in the notes below this live. It's happening on Thursday, August 13th, and I will see you there.